In 2011, I had the opportunity to interview the Dalai Lama. To be honest, I went into this encounter with something of a bad attitude. I had never been drawn to what's known as the smells and bells version of Buddhism, for which the Dalai Lama is the robe-wearing, incense-burning poster child. But I ended up being impressed, in part because of this exchange. I asked him, don't we need to be somewhat self-centered in order to succeed in life? And he said, and I'm roughly paraphrasing here, that self-cherishing is natural. Without that, we're kind of like robots. But, he said, practicing the development of concern for other people is actually of immense benefit to you. In essence, he was saying that there is a self-interested case for not being a jerk. And there's science to back him up. Research studies have shown that compassionate people are healthier, more popular, and more successful. And in fact, there's some evidence that meditation can actually make people more compassionate. So let's ask Joseph about this. There's a reason why there's this old cliche about nice guys finishing last. People worry that if they're too nice, that somehow they're going to get trampled. What's your view?
So I think kindness has to be paired with wisdom. So it's not necessarily acquiescing to every request or every demand. We need to bring some wisdom into the situation, what's appropriate in the situation. The key here is what's going on within ourselves, even if we are saying no to something or we're creating some boundaries. Is it done from a kindly place in our heart, or is it done from resentment? Is it done from anger, from annoyance, from irritation? If it's done from these latter motivations, we're the ones who are suffering. I mean, we're creating this inner tension in ourselves, and those feelings are not required to be able to say no, to be able to set boundaries.
There's also, when you were talking about the fear that we have about being trampled, but if we're too kind, the Tibetans talk about this term idiot compassion.
Yep.
So there's a kind of compassion that is, for lack of a better term, wimpy.
Yes.
And then there's a kind of compassion that is wise and fierce.
Yes. In fact, there's another term in Tibetan Buddhism called wrathful compassion, where sometimes the situation calls for, as you say, an expression of fierceness to perhaps stop something harmful from happening. But again, it depends what's happening within us. Are we doing that from a place of anger, or are we doing that from a place of understanding and wisdom? No, this has to stop. But we're actually doing it out of a place of caring. So that's very different. Then our whole inner environment is in a much more peaceful, happy state.
So really, there is a super strong case, self-interested case, for being nice.
Oh, definitely. It's like a spiral upwards. How more loving kindness and compassion, as you say, opens our heart more, and we see more clearly, we make wiser decisions. The wiser decisions make us happier. As we're happier, our hearts are more open, and so our lives just become a spiral upwards, towards more openness, towards more connectedness. So it has huge benefits.
I mean, it's how I've reached this state of perfection.
Yes, which we all appreciate so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome, everybody.
There's one area of experience that we most habitually personalize and identify with, and that is with different emotions that are arising. For example, sadness might arise, or happiness, or fear, or anger, or joy. And very commonly, as these emotions arise, we take them to be who we are. I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm afraid. But the I is extra. We're adding that to the simple experience of the emotion itself. In mindfulness practice, we begin to open to the emotions and feel them in all their nuances. We feel them as they manifest in the body, as they manifest in the mind, as they manifest through our thoughts. But through mindfulness, we're seeing the arising and passing away of all these emotions with all their components, without identifying with them, without taking them to be self, without personalizing them. It's somewhat like seeing how cloud formations appear in the sky. The clouds appear, form due to certain conditions, the conditions change, the clouds pass away. In meditation practice, we can learn to have that open sky of the mind, be open to the feeling of the various emotions that arise, not excluding any of them, but relating to them in a way that allows them to simply appear, to be there, to be experienced, and to dissolve as the conditions change. We'll begin this meditation by again sitting in an upright posture, gently closing the eyes. You can consciously relax the eyes, soften them, relaxing the jaw and the shoulders, softening the belly. Settling into the awareness of the body and the body posture, to sit and to know that we're sitting. You can gradually become aware of the sensations of your body breathing. Become mindful of the sensations of your body breathing in, the sensations of your body breathing out. If different sensations in the body become predominant and call your attention away from the breath, open to the feeling of those sensations. They become the object of your mindfulness. You might be noticing pressure or tightness or tension or vibration. Simply become aware of the sensations. Observe what happens to them as you're aware of them. Do they get stronger or weaker, disappear, stay the same? And when they're no longer predominant, you can settle back into the awareness of the body and the breath. You may find at different times that thoughts or emotions arise in the mind. Often a particular thought will trigger an emotion. If you become aware of a strong emotion arising in the mind, it might be anger, it might be sadness, it might be happiness, it might be joy. Open to the feeling of that emotion. That becomes the object of your meditation. Joy feels like this. Anger feels like this. Open to how it feels in the body. Is there a specific place in the body that you feel the emotion most clearly? Is there a tightness in the chest? Is there a tension in the jaw? Is there a lightness in the torso? When an emotion is strong, you can check out how you're feeling it in the body. If the emotion persists, you can investigate it further as it's manifesting in the mind. What kind of thoughts are being generated by the emotion? It is sometimes helpful to make the soft mental note of what the emotion is. Sadness, sadness, joy, anger. We become aware of the emotion as it's manifesting in both the body and the mind, making a soft mental note of it, noticing how it arises out of conditions, how it will pass away as the conditions change. And when the emotion is no longer predominant, we simply come back again to the feeling of the body breathing. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and reconnect with the world around you. As an image that might help you remember how to relate in a skillful way, particularly with difficult emotions, but also with more wholesome ones. Imagine how you would be with a young child who was feeling that particular emotion. If you were with a child who was feeling fear, what would your response be? It probably wouldn't be to judge the child or to say he or she was bad for having it. The instinctive response would simply to be there for the child, to hold the space with a certain kind of tenderness and a lot of acceptance. We can apply the same understanding to the emotions we have within ourselves. We want to hold them in a space of openness, in a space of tenderness. It is okay to feel them. I look forward to continuing with you tomorrow.